Welcome back to another episode of Prop Sutra with Balaji Rao. Prop Sutra is presented to you by Prop News Time. At Prop Sutra, we aim to demystify and simplify real estate. In this week's episode, we're talking about airports. We're discussing everything from how an airport is classified to how much land is needed, what are the operating models, and what future looks like. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Today, I'd like to talk to you about airports.
Sure.
Why do airports hold such significance in modern life beyond being just travel hubs?
Well, if you really want to to answer that question, you have to go back in your timeline. The birth of civilization has always been around ports, whether they're on rivers or sea or on the ocean front, because in civilization or urbanization as it grew and people came together, you could not completely be self-reliant.
Right.
They needed to bring in goods
Uh-huh.
and they needed to take out goods also.
Right.
So when you don't have that and you need to do trading, the earliest mode of transportation was via the sea and the waterways.
Understood.
And that's why ports became port cities were the most well known. Okay. Later on, from the hinterland, when you wanted to bring in more produce, more people, you brought in the railways. You laid down the tracks because there the waterways were not in every part, every region. So the railways and the railway stations and those terminals became very important.
Right.
And then came the roadways with the car, with the evolution of the cars and the movement of you had heavier haulers and trucks coming in. Airports are a fairly new phenomena because air travel and the way passenger traffic started and then the cargo traffic started with the air. But today it is the most convenient,
Yes.
though it is more expensive than the other travels, it's the most convenient because it saves time.
Right.
And time is precious for everyone. So airports today are in the lead seat for all transport-oriented developments.
Understood.
Because if you really want to grow a region, you need to have an airport, not just a port, seaport, or a river port, or a railway station or roads.
Right.
You need to have an airport which bring in people and goods pretty quickly. So whether you're trying to boost the economy through manufacturing, through services, through tourism, whichever way we look at it, airports will be in the vanguard of the development. And every region would require an airport.
So, are you saying, in a way, airports reflect the identity and ambitions of a particular city and country?
I'm saying it will reflect the growth and development of a particular city.
Okay.
You can understand. So you would not really be a big city or a metropolis if you don't even have an airport. Let's think about that,
Right.
isn't it?
Yes.
So if you ever want to develop a region, an area, a city, a town, then airports become mandatory, literally.
Understood. So, there are multiple kinds of airports. Just to help our viewers understand, how are they generally classified?
See, though, you have to look at airports in a way by way of what sort of traffic they handle.
Right.
So the bigger airports, the way it is classified is per the sort of the runway length they do, the span which they have. So you have 1, 2, 3 classification. This is the international classification.
Right.
Where 1 would be the runway below 800, 2 would be 800 to 1200 meters, 3 1200 to 1800, and so on and so forth. And 4th is the longer runways. And then you have the span A to F, F being for the widest bodied aircraft. So
Right.
typically a new airport, like say if you say NMIA, the Navi Mumbai International Airport, they're planning to have 2 runways which will both be 4F, literally, what we would call,
Okay.
to be able to take 2 Dreamliner sort of aircraft, land and take off because of the thing. And then it also requires the land around it because it's not just the runways, but also the taxiways, the aprons, which it has all the services. So you'll have all the rest of the paraphernalia around the airport also. So basically, you will have these larger airports which have both domestic and international operations. You might have smaller airports which will have only domestic, which are near the state capitals,
Right.
and you will have the hubs and spokes sort of a thing in regional airports.
Right.
Okay. In US, they classify these hubs as large, mid, and no hubs, where it is just small aircraft. So if you look at airports all around the world, we feel that there are about 40,000 airports
Okay.
around the world,
Yeah.
out of which about 9,000 are serviced by commercial airlines.
Right.
Now, US has the bulk of the airports out of the 40,000,
Yes.
followed by Brazil, Mexico, Canada, and all that.
Correct.
And we in India have currently only around 136, 140 airports.
Yes.
We are trying to grow that to about 450, 400 to 450 airports in the next 20 years, 20, 25 years. Our aim is by 2047, when
Right.
India celebrates its centenary independence, then we should be having around 400 airports. That's a growth pattern.
Right.
But most countries will have, say, about 1,000 to 1,200 airports, like if they are of India size. Like if you look at even a country like China, Brazil is far ahead. So because airports do help in bringing all regions into play into the economy.
Okay.
So they're classified internationally by the size of the runways and the span it can allow. And also it can be classified by the passenger traffic and cargo it will handle.
Right.
And whether it's a hub or whether it's just one of the smaller airports.
How do governments at a state and center level plan for airports?
Well, airports is a part of economic development as well as urban planning. So whenever generally what you see is plan airports wherever the cities are slowly growing. That's one. Two, you will plan airports where the capitals of the states are. You'll plan airports whichever is a major trading or economic center. So you plan these airports. Now they can be planned in a hub and spoke way. Like suppose you're thinking of doing in the northeast, you might have Guwahati as the hub and the spokes into all the other states.
Right.
Or you can have in certain areas, just the spokes going if they are close to a hub,
Right.
in the sense that a city like Hyderabad or Bangalore as two hubs can actually, you don't need any other hub in the south of India.
Right.
They can all be servicing all the rest of the hubs. So most of the time it is planned in that way. And the airports grow over time with the expansion of the city
Right.
and the economic activity in the region or the hinterland.
Right.
So that's the general planning approach.
So how much land is typically needed for an airport?
Well, it depends upon the size and scale of the airport you're planning.
Right.
For example, I think Navi Mumbai Airport is roughly around 3,000 acres, whereas our airport in the city at Santa Cruz is much smaller in size.
Right.
We are trying our level best to expand beyond 1,500 acres. It's got encroached upon. And the bigger airports can be massive.
Right.
Like I think in Saudi Arabia, the King Fahd Airport will be around 100 square kilometers. The Dubai airport is around 30 square kilometers. So most of the airports, when I say 5,000 acres, is around, that's about 20 square kilometers to give you an idea.
Right.
So they're mostly around 20 square kilometers, the big mega airports, which can handle maybe up to 100 million passengers per annum.
Right.
Okay. The smaller airports naturally will require lesser space. Like you have an airport called Alluri Sita Ramaraju Airport coming up near Visakhapatnam, which will be maybe only about 1,800 acres, Right. So they'll be much smaller. Yeah. And so it depends on whether you need a mega airport or a much smaller airport. But where you will take more land is because if it expands, you can't have other developments around. Correct. That's one. And two, it's better if you have larger airports because you anyway have around the airport a funnel area where the height restriction is there. Because of the noise, many things cannot come up. So because of all that, it's better to have a larger area already earmarked for development in the future even if the airport grows from a smaller base. You understand?
That
So,
explains why governments hold undeveloped land around airport areas.
yes, in my opinion, you should have at least about 50 square kilometers of airport notified area,
Okay.
of which maybe you'll start with 10, 15, 20 square kilometers of the actual airport and
Correct.
keep the rest as a buffer
Understood.
for your growth and expansion.
Understood. So, generally speaking, who owns and operates airports?
Most of the airports in India are under the ministry, the government owned, under
Right.
the Airports Authority of India. But you can also have a PPP model, which is called a public private partnership,
Right.
where the Airports Authority can give you the land on a lease and you can develop it as a private operator, the entire airport for 30, 40 years and renew it later.
Okay.
So now the new airports, not the new, there were some of the bigger airports like Delhi, you have your Bombay, you have Bangalore, you have Hyderabad. All these are PPP models running,
Okay.
where they're private operators doing,
Right.
and they are developing it. You have a totally greenfield private airport at Cochin, so you can have those also, where
Right.
the land can be given on lease to a private operator, or the government itself can develop it under AI, like it used to earlier do, a
Right.
particular airport. See, airports which are more in the slightly developing regions, not so forward, you know, I think you will have the government taking the initiative because private operators will not be in a hurry to go to these areas. So the government might have to plan and start those sort of airports,
Right.
which are more regional or small town supported
Right.
initially. And then as they grow, maybe it can make it privatize it.
So, the revenue that gets generated from airports, is it largely due to the commercial, air traffic, or is it the rental yields? What contributes?
The funny thing is, airports also depend a lot on non aeronautical revenue. Okay. Because at the airport, what you really depend on what the airlines give you, what the passengers give you, and
Right.
what are the services you provide.
Yeah.
You have the fuel farms, you have the MRO, which is maintenance, repair, and overhauling of aircrafts. You will have some sort of ground support services. You have all those,
Yes.
but they will not really be enough to make it viable.
Okay.
So, to make it viable, you do require, beside an airport, commercial activities,
Right.
like whether it's retail, like duty free shopping, other departmental stores, supermarket. You might need hotels, you might need service departments, you might need commercial spaces for operators and those who have operations that are very closely allied to the airport operations. So you will need to have a lot more commercial activities which are ancillary in nature to
Right.
the actual aircraft related activities which is going on the other side. So you have the so-called you'll have the airport side, which is where you have all the actual aircrafts taking off and landing, and you have the passenger side, which will be where all these ancillary activities
The
will be taking place.
So your shopping, your restaurants, your lounge
Yes,
services,
and
your
it can become big. So typically, the developments of an airport, if you can see, they'll be of two types. When it is much smaller in nature, this commercial, which with a few hotels, a few office blocks, retail, and all that, they're known as aerocities.
right.
And if you really develop around an airport a massive sort of a transit-oriented development, that can be become an aeropolis also, like a
Right.
metropolis.
Yeah.
So these are the two sizes you can use. Some of the Indian cities, like Delhi, has an aerocity,
Yes.
which is doing well. Mumbai is trying to do, Bangalore is trying to do. So these aerocities are slowly coming up now.
Understand. So I'd like to understand the impact airports have on the surrounding real estate prices, development, infrastructure development as well. To start with, how does it become a growth engine for that particular city, that particular area?
See, it becomes an automatic growth engine because otherwise, how do you connect that area to some other area?
Correct.
Suppose an area is only connected
Mm-hmm.
by trains, by roads.
Yeah.
It'll have limited growth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, suddenly you have an airport. Like, think about it. Mumbai airport handles around 50 million passengers
Right.
annually.
Yeah.
Delhi handles 70 million passengers. These are the two busiest airports we have.
Right.
So, what does that mean? That means you are having literally 4 million passengers coming in every month going out. So, the question of more people come in, which is why are they coming in? Either they're coming in for business or for pleasure or for recreation or tourism, whatever might be the reason. That's how the economy grows. People coming, spending money, doing business. So if I cut that airport out, are they all going to come by trains and roads? Not likely.
Yeah.
It'll fall dramatically. So as a city becomes the hub of commerce and economy, more and more people will come there.
Right.
You understand? As a city becomes a major tourist attraction, more and more people will come there. A singular place like Paris attracts 60 to 70 million people annually. You understand?
Right.
Dubai attracts 30, 40 million people.
Right.
So all these cities attract people for various reasons, for entertainment, recreation. So as a city, any regional center develops, it needs airports to bring in the people, to take out the people, to help them to come in and out. And the faster they can move in and out, that's easier to.
So, how do airports impact investment in the surrounding region? Investment in real estate.
See, airports and real estate are very intrinsically connected. Insofar, the current model of airports, you wonder whether it's infrastructure or real estate, because both have equal weightage. Because as an infrastructure, it provides a vital service of transportation and connectivity,
Right.
correct? And so you cannot do without it, as we just discussed. As a real estate, it provides valuable sort of a adjoining area for people to have their facilities, commercial, residential, industrial sometimes,
Yeah.
like all logistics and warehousing they need space around the airport.
Correct.
Okay. So all these require space around airports. You understand? And if millions of people are passing through the airport,
Yeah.
then naturally even retail, hospitality, F&B becomes important.
Correct.
So put together, is it a infrastructure, is it real estate? Is I think a good mix of both. Okay. So naturally, when an airport comes up at a particular area, you can slowly see in concentric circles the development around it. Whether first it is a 5 square kilometer around the airport, 10 square kilometers, 20 square kilometers, you know, because all these areas become very prime because they're close to the airport,
Right.
isn't it? Earlier, we used to think if there's a hotel near the airport, nobody would really go there.
Yeah.
Why would they want to be near the airport? But today, the hotels near the airport do fantastically well
Right.
because many people will just go to the hotel, conduct their businesses, stay overnight, and push off. They
Yeah.
don't need to come into the city, especially business travelers.
Correct.
So, all areas in and around the airports, they tend to do a lot better in real estate development, in real estate pricing, in the diversified real estate offerings they can give you. Like, for example, if you cannot be high rise, around an airport is the ideal thing to have, say, villas, golf courses, gated communities. You understand? Even senior living. Because they're far away, the land is not so expensive. They're not in the city centric, but they're close to the airport for their relatives or friends to come and visit them. You understand? So there are a lot of advantages of developing real estate around an airport.
So you're saying that kind of project, the kind of residential project might change, but it can be equally lucrative.
It will be. It need not be in the boondocks.
Right.
And you're suddenly going for 40 kilometers and landing at an airport.
Right.
Around the airports, it will become the corridor becomes a continuum of development.
Yes.
And around the airport, there will be multifarious sort of economic activities that can happen.
Right. So, I mean, we've seen people bet on surrounding areas even before an airport becomes operational.
Correct. Why? Because the price will be a steep increase. No? Like suppose a area near the airport, when the airport is now announced is X,
Right.
generally the price in downtown might be 100X.
Right.
So people start cornering land around this proposed airport,
Yeah.
betting that the airport will come up there as planned. And so as soon as the airport is announced, it already becomes 10X. He gets 10X.
Right.
As he develops it, it'll slowly become 20X, 30X. I'm not saying it'll become 100X as the center of the city, but it might very well go up to 30, 40X as compared to the city.
But isn't this in a way speculative? Or are there proven models?
See, I don't know what is, no, I don't think it's speculative. What is investment? See, the difference between investment and speculation is only time frame.
Okay.
You understand? We call it a gambling is a instant.
Right.
Speculation is also very short duration.
Right.
Investment is a longer duration. That's all. Isn't it? When you go on the horse race and you gamble, it's over in 2 minutes.
Right.
Casino, it's over in a few minutes. Correct? When you speculate and I do some futures, options, derivatives, it'll be over in a week's time or a few weeks' time if I carry it forward.
Right.
If I invest, I'm carrying it for a few months or a year or a few years. That's all. Typically, land can never be speculation. It doesn't suddenly jump.
Right.
You need to invest.
No, I understand that, but it can also sort of just remain stagnant. You know, someone might.
But that's what I'm saying. You need to have a time frame, no?
Right.
Because you cannot think it'll happen tomorrow.
Understood.
It's not a gamble, it's not a speculation. It takes time. It takes years.
What do you think about the current development that's taking place around the Jewar International Airport or other big airports that are yet to become operational?
See, it'll be a very interesting development to study for us because you have the international airport in Delhi, which has already worked wonders for Gurgaon or
Right.
Gurugram.
Yeah.
But in the Noida side, Jewar is supposed to provide us that impetus.
Yes.
I'm quite confident it will
Right.
because Delhi is so huge.
Yeah.
It's about almost 25 million people today. If you see Greater Delhi with all its surrounding satellite townships. So I have a feeling for Noida, Greater Noida, even Ghaziabad, all these, the Jewar airport will become very critical
Right.
because it will help connectivity better. Because from Noida to go to the airport today,
Yes.
Indira Gandhi International Airport, sometimes can be quite a task,
Right.
to put it mildly, unless you take the metro lines.
Yeah.
So job should be the answer to that. So the way it is developing, I think kudos to the state government. I have a feeling it will be a great greenfield developed project.
And how do you see it impacting Noida as a city? Do you see
I
it?
think it will change Noida's economic status.
Right.
I think you will have today Noida is considered to be a little step lower than Gurugram. It might not be anymore in the future if Jewar takes off in a big way.
Right.
Because there will be connectivity, people will come and go. So you'll have better class of companies, corporations, offices, services, all there also.
Right.
And don't forget, it'll be also closer to the tourism hub of Agra.
Right.
Though this side is closer to Rajasthan,
Yeah.
that side is closer to Agra, which is equally pulse.
Do you see the regional airports being planned in the Northeast region also impacting or maybe bringing in a lot more investment, lot more opportunity?
Absolutely. I think Northeast is a great place for development in the future.
Yeah.
And I truly believe with it. And there, the terrain lends itself more
Correct.
to airports
Yeah.
than to trades and roads. So I truly believe, and the people of Northeast are very hardworking,
Yeah.
and you see them extremely entrepreneurial also. So I think that when these developments take place, you will transform Northeast into an economic engine of growth.
Are there airports that become underutilized, or why do airports sort of become
See,
underutilized?
if certain airports are created because of vested interests, political interests, some political leader who has clout says he needs it near his village or town, and that doesn't really, you haven't really planned what sort of traffic you will get, passenger traffic, cargo traffic. So there are a few airports in India which are almost, as we call them, ghost airports,
Right.
where there's hardly any traffic going in and out.
Yeah.
But they are more, as I said, political in
Okay.
nature because of, or because you needed to have a representative airport in that region.
Hmm.
But I think what people have to realize is you have to try and promote it. You
Right.
have to give it a bit of a push. You
Yeah.
have to connect it to regional economic hubs or to tourism hubs.
Right.
You understand? And then see how it grows.
Understood. I'm an investor. I want to bet on airport led growth. How do I approach this?
No, if you're an investor in real estate,
Yes.
then
Sorry, I
you're
mean,
trying to say you want to buy land wherever airports are being planned, and
econ-
you'll be patient enough to wait for 5, 10 years, 15 years.
Mhm.
If you have that sort of a time frame,
Mhm.
then you will be actually researching to see where airports are coming up, which airports would be really viable, and buying land around that area.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's a wrap for this week's episode. Do share your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for regular notifications and follow us on our handles. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in.